Real quick, I want to do a fair use. Yeah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. I give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. And there's this rise in violence. Nigeria rejects Trump's claims of targeting Christians, right?
This week, President Trump threatened to send the U.S. military into Nigeria and to cut off American aid for not doing enough to protect Nigerian Christians. Nigeria and its 236 million people comprise the most populous nation in Africa, roughly split between Christians and Muslims. For years, it's struggled to curtail violence across the country, from international terrorist groups to disputes between farmers and herders. But now, as Nick Schifrin reports, its leadership must face threats from both its internal adversaries and from the White House.
In Nigeria's northeast, the carcass of a truck is still smoking. An office building's facade is burned black, and an army pickup charred beyond recognition. All targets of Islamic State West Africa province, which 2 weeks ago filmed as it torched a military barracks and launched simultaneous attacks across 4 districts. For years, Islamist terrorists have plagued northern Nigeria. Best known as Boko Haram, they haven't only targeted the military. Boko Haram violently opposes female education and in 2014 kidnapped 276 schoolgirls. 82 remain in captivity. It's bombed mosques, blowing up this place of prayer in 2014, killing 120. Boko Haram has also targeted Christians, as I saw in 2015 in the eastern city of Mubi. Outside the nearby Church of the Brethren, the damage is everywhere. Inside, high above the podium, the fire set by Boko Haram almost erased the cross from the wall. 16 parishioners died. Ilya Usman is the church's secretary.
When these people landed in Mubi, they will ask you, are you a Christian or a Muslim? When you say you're a Christian, they will shoot you. There's no one single church left in Mubi. They burnt it.
They still do. In 2022, the Nigerian government says members of Al-Shabaab, usually based in Somalia, attacked this church in southwest Nigeria. The floor was still stained from 50 parishioners slaughtered as they attended Sunday Mass. Nigeria says it's reduced terrorism, although it's identified a new group with international links in the northwest called Lakurawa. Most Nigerian Muslims live in the north, most Christians live in the south, and in the middle, the two groups overlap, as do tribes, farmers, and herders, who can clash violently. For decades, nomadic herders, almost all of whom are Muslim, have fought farmers, most of whom are Christian, over land disputes and scarce resources. The independent conflict monitor ACLED tells PBS NewsHour last year's data show a rise in Christian fatalities, mostly in central Nigeria. And this year, there's been a 43% increase in attacks by Fulani herders over last year. But the vast majority of the incidents were over land disputes, not targeting because of religion. This June, at least 150 displaced people staying at a Catholic mission were killed. The community blamed Muslim Fulani herders. Attacks like this one have led to the White House.
Do you envisage U.S. boots on the ground? Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria.
Last month, President Trump designated Nigeria a country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act. And last weekend wrote he may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing.
The government doesn't help the Christians. They're not protecting them. They're not protecting their villages.
Nina Shea directs the Hudson Institute Center of Religious Freedom. She and 30 other advocates, Christian organizations, and think tanks wrote a letter in October to President Trump saying the Nigerian government demonstrably tolerates relentless aggression uniquely against Christian farming families. Why do you think that a lot of this violence is purely directed at Christians when there's also Muslim on Muslim violence, Christian on Christian violence, and the government itself has failed to stop all the violence regardless of the victim?
Well, the government tries to stop the violence. It is fighting military warfare against Boko Haram and Islamic State up in the north, and a number of other groups as well. It is not trying to arrest or prosecute or in any way rein in these Fulani herders. Local Christian leaders are telling us that they are trying to cleanse the land of Christians, that they are establishing the land for Islamic rule.
Nigeria's government insists it's taking steps to stop violence that targets all Nigerians.
As a responsible government, we refuse to approach the fight against terrorism from a profiling point of view. That's why we discourage the idea that it is a targeted Christian. It's a hawk. It's a hoax.
Daniel Bwala is a special advisor on the media to Bola Tinubu, who became Nigeria's president in 2023. Bwala grew up in Borno State, the epicenter of Boko Haram violence.
We lived through these experiences where we have a lot of our loved ones haven't been killed by Boko Haram when it started. The killings by the terrorists or the insurgents or the Boko Haram, it is not targeted at any particular religion.
But in central Nigeria, as you know, there are international organizations who are tracking more violence between herders, who are almost all of whom are Muslim, against farmers, most of whom are Christian. Why hasn't the government been able to reduce that violence?
It is a case of cattle rustling and then the case of incursion on people's land and land grabbing by the Islamic militia, so to speak. We have been dialoguing with the people and we have been sifting out and isolating criminal elements who are taking advantage of that situation to cause mayhem to our people.
But do you acknowledge that there are many Nigerians, Christians and Muslims, who feel that the government hasn't done enough to guarantee their security?
Yeah, I will not deny the fact that there will be many, and we have been saying that we have limitation of arms and ammunition. Our relationship with America will help strengthen this fight.
Historically, the U.S. and Nigerian militaries have trained together and shared intelligence to target terrorist groups. But in a country that is generally pro-American, President Trump's threats caused widespread criticism. The government offers collaboration.
When President Trump said what he said, we took it in good faith. We feel like it's a message that calls for a sitting down so we can broaden this conversation around what we need. Donald Trump, quite frankly, is one president that African people celebrate the most because he's not politically correct about any opinion he holds. We don't need interpreter to tell us that Donald Trump thinks well about Nigeria. That's why we don't take what he says hook, line, and sinker. He has done that to almost everybody. He even threatened to turn Canada to a state. He dragged the South African president to the White House.
Death.
He did that to Zelensky.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country.
We look at the psychology and we work around that. And what we're trying to do is to pass the message through the base, his consumer base, to understand that hoax is not a reflection of what the Nigerian people are.
But the violence is real, and they've led to real threats of American intervention against a historic African partner. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schifrin.
A leading Muslim cleric has urged Nigeria to cut ties with the United States over President Donald Trump's threat of military action. At the weekend, Trump warned of possible military action, with guns a-blazing, if Nigeria failed to crack down on what he called the killing of large numbers of Christians by Islamist insurgents. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has pushed back against accusations of religious intolerance and defended his country's efforts to protect religious freedom. While Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff said on Monday that what the country faces is terrorism, not the persecution of Christians. In Nigeria's northern Kano state on Tuesday, cleric Ahmed Gumi said Nigeria should warn Trump to retract his threat.
Because it's a direct threat, even ordering the Pentagon to be ready to attack Nigeria for what? Nigeria should, the president should retract such, or else we sever our relationship with America until when Americans will have the sense to elect a president that is civil.
Trump has also said his administration would immediately halt all aid and assistance to Nigeria. The Nigerian government has said it would welcome U.S. help in fighting insurgent groups as long as its territorial integrity is respected. Foreign Minister Yusuf Tuga in Germany on Tuesday emphasized his country's constitutional commitment to religious freedom and the rule of law.
This is what guides us, and this is what shows that it's impossible for there to be a religious persecution that can be supported in any way, shape, or form by the government of Nigeria at any level.
Nigeria, Africa's most populous country with more than 200 million people, is divided between the largely Muslim north and mostly Christian south. Insurgent groups such as Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa Province have wrought havoc in the country for more than 15 years. Thousands of people have been killed, but the attacks have largely been confined to the majority Muslim northeast of the country. Research from U.S. crisis monitoring group ACLED shows that out of 1,923 attacks on civilians in Nigeria so far this year, the number of those targeting Christians because of their religion stood at 50. A senior research analyst at ACLED said recent claims circulating in some U.S. right-wing circles that as many as 100,000 Christians had been killed in Nigeria since 2009 are not supported by available data.
Yeah, so this is Deuteronomy 28 and 36. It says, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, shall bring thee and thy king, which thus shall set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor your fathers have known. So, yeah, through, was it 70 AD? 1 million Jews fled into Africa, right? So you're in the land that your fathers have never known. And, you know, years later, centuries later, here you are in Nigeria, in a land that your father never knew, and you're living there just like the rest of us who went into into cargo slave ships, because those slave ships, a lot of them came from Nigeria. So a lot of us are Nigerian, right? Most of us here in America would be considered Nigerian, right? And so all this hoopla about Christians and Muslims, but then they don't have the same sentiments between so-called black Christians against these so-called white Christians, right? Here in America, right? It says, and there shall thus serve other gods, wood and stone, right? Wood meaning what Christianity, serving that, bowing down to a cross, the wooded cross, worshiping Edomite Cesare Bozier, JC, right? The stone, worshiping Allah, cobblestone, walk around it 7 times, 8 times, whatever they do, cobblestone, and then that is happening even in Nigeria, literally split. The northern part is the cobblestone believing Israelites, right? Because you're basically Israelites. You have no business worshiping Allah. But just the same factor, you have no business believing in JC, right? So, I mean, the cool thing about that is, as a Christian, you have the answers in your hand, but then you don't, right? You're like one that is learned and cannot because it's sealed, and one that is unlearned and cannot because he's unlearned. But you got all the answers technically in your hand, and that's the cold hard facts about being a Christian, man. All right, and then the what's called, the stone, the cobblestone, the Allah believing Israelites, man, you're completely lost, right? And I will almost say that there's no help, but of course, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Shai, anything's possible, but it is very hard to convert someone who's in Islam. They're pretty much gone. They're gone. They're not gonna, they ain't coming out of that. You know what I mean? Pretty much. It's rare. I mean, if it does, man, hey, hopefully you're one of the elect, because that's a difficult one. It says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, right? Yeah, that's pretty much an astonishment, because compared to us, right? Us so-called people who came from Nigeria and Ghana and some those the slave coast, and we're here in America, and we don't have our own land like you do. And for you guys to have your own land, sort of speak, have your own government, sort of speak, and you're basically fighting and killing each other over farmland and over religion. That's an astonishment, but I get it. We're over here in America, it's astonishment because we're killing each other over blocks and streets and claiming gangs and things that have really nothing to do with us, right? Just the neighborhood you live in, right? But that's kind of the astonishment. That's what happens, right? And a proverb and a byword, right, among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead them, right? So the Lord led you into Nigeria or Ghana or synagogue or Senegalese, whatever, wherever the Lord led you in the world, right? Because the Lord said He would scatter us, right, to the 4 corners of the earth. Matter of fact, let's see, because I wasn't even because I basically already did that, but since because the Lord means it, right? He said it twice in one verse, in one chapter. So it's not going to be good. Like, you know what I mean? This is going to be heavy. So here you are away in Nigeria. You have pretty much the problem we have here, right? We have the same enemy, which is the Edomites, and all these other nations, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Ishmaelites, we have all the same enemies, but then we're warring against each other. It says 28 and 64, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people. Saying we're really across the entire world, and this is how you narrow it down to understand who we are, right? Because this is not happening amongst so-called Christians of other ethnicities. This is only happening under us, right? It says scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. See, we're in every nation anyway. But what the Lord is going to say when you get there to these other nations, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thy father have known, even wood and stone. So he said the same thing in one chapter. So you know it's going to be embedded and it's going to be a true thing, right? Saying you're going to be proverbs and bywords. This is these things. You know what I mean? It's not good to be called a Christian, right? Christian is meant to be a derogatory term, technically, and definitely a Muslim is definitely a derogatory term, because that is all sorts of darkness and blackness, right? And it's both of them. That's why the Lord's telling you, you're going to be in darkness. You're not going to be worshiping the one true power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And it's definitely not in spirit and in truth. Here you are, you have the Bible as a Christian, but you're not worshiping the power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, in spirit and truth. And in Islam, you gotta dabble between the Bible and Islam to make it seem like what you saying matters, right? And that happens here all the time. Louis, what is his name? Louis the Farrakhan, whatever, however you say his name is. He's always quoting the Bible. He hardly ever, I've never heard him quote the Quran. But if he do, it's very few and in between. He's always quoting the Bible because the Bible is what has power. It's more significant, right? Right? So it says, among these nations shall thus find no ease. See? And here you are, you got your so-called your own nation, but you don't, right? Because all these other countries come in there to steal your oil. You got Moab there, right? The so-called Chinese. I believe there's even a couple of Russians, which, they're Edomites. Then you got, of course, Britain, right? That's there, which are Edomites. And then you find these great gold deposits and this and that, and somehow you're fighting back and forth, but then you don't end up with any of the gold or any of the wealth from the oil, right? So that's why you're finding no ease, neither shall the soles of thy feet have rest. So you don't have true rest. It's your own so-called land, but there ain't no rest there, right? But Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart, right? All right, which is your mind. Your mind's never going to be settled. You're never going to be able to go, okay, I'm cool. I don't have to pay bills here and do this and do that, or worry about water, right? Because then you have these companies that come out there and they excavate and do things for the oil, but they don't do it in a safe manner because they're thinking, hey, we're going to get this money and we're going to be out of this place, and we don't care if it goes into their water. That's their problem. And that's what they left it up to, right? So now Nigeria has been trying to sue Britain, right, with shells, right, for contaminating their water. It's been a long lawsuit, which that's kind of hard to do. You can sue them amongst their own people in their own land, and are you going to truly get justice? Right? You know? It says, but Yahweh shall give thee a trembling heart and and failing eyes and sorrow of mind, right? See? That's the thing that's happening. These are signs. This is how you just know that we are these people, man. Right? Right? Because they're sitting there fighting over you being Muslim or Christian and this and that, and here we fight over Crips and Bloods and GDs and Vice Lords and even over being Christian and Muslim, right? Worshiping wood and stone, right here, even in America, showing you where we're scattered in the world. Here we are worshiping wood and stone, right? So that the man that is tender was 54, Deuteronomy 28:54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. So when you're Israelite. You're either from especially over there, you from Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You're all the same people, but I'm a Muslim, so I'm gonna kill you. I'm a Christian, right? And at least as a Christian, you're a little closer to the truth. But then again, you're not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can get down with because at least the Christian believe in the actual scriptures, right? Because even the Surah or whatever it is tells you that you must that the Lord that they must go to the Israelites to actually truly understand God. So we're the Israelites, we're the prophets. You truly must come to the prophets to understand what's going on in the world, and you have to understand. You got to throw away that goddamn what is it called? Quran, right? And you got to put away your ideologies as Christians and come back to the true power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? But it shows no matter where we're at, here we are fighting, whether if it's other Christian over so-called land, which really you probably using that as an excuse to kill them, because it's not like you're fighting other Muslims like that, which maybe it happens here and there, but most of it's like a two birds with one stone. If I can kill this Christian, he's a Christian anyway, I don't like, and I can get the land, right? So to speak, you know? But it shows who we are. It says so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, right? Right? GDs, Vice Lords, gangs, Bloods, Crips, Muslims, Christians. We're fighting each other. Whatever it is. And it shows. That's not, they got all these demographics of Christians and stuff under so-called white, and they're not fighting each other like that. You got all these demographics under Islam, and they're not fighting each other like that. Right? And then, and then not to mention, Trump is only bringing attention to this because he's trying to get the attention off them gutter rats over there committing G-side over in Gaza, right? So now he's trying to put the attention on there. But guess what? A lot of us come from Nigeria. Where's your concern for us here in America? You know that a lot of us are Nigerians. So where's your care for Nigerians and Christians. Do you know most so-called black people in America will consider themselves Christians, but they make complaints after complaints after complaints about treatments and things, and you're not saying anything? Yeah. That's part of that proverb or that byword. You don't care, right? But it's showing who we are. That his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, right? And towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, right? You got the single mother houses and different things like that, and it's not as prevalent like that in places like Nigeria or something like that, but it does happen, right? There. But the main part I wanted to just pull out is showing that their eyes are evil towards their brother. They're all Israelites, but then they're fighting each other, and then diverting the division between each other under worshiping what? Wood and stone. Yeah, so this is Proverbs chapter 14, verse 8. It said the wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, right? Which is the Father's way, the Most High's way, but then also your enemies. You got to watch out what they do and the things, like the dude spoke about the way he spoke to the South African president, the way he spoke to Lazinski, and the scriptures tell you about, just what Edomites have done throughout history, right? What Edomites have done throughout history, right? It says to you will know them by their fruits. What kind of fruit have the Edomites, right? The self-proclaimed so-called white man. What kind of fruit do he have? I mean, come on now. But the folly of fools is deceit, right? See, and that's all they have. Esau's just he's all into folly, and all he is doing is to deceive you. Oh, I care about the Christians. No, it's really you're trying to get the attention off the ones who who got a dot hat. They got a dot hat on their head, right? Like a period hat, right? On top of their head, and it's a little, right? So it says, off of the G side in Gaza, right? Because, and then not to mention it brings up what they call a hysteria or some type of fear against Muslims, right? Which they may in turn use that eventually because they've used it before, right? Fools make a mock at sin. So, hey, it's not a big deal. We know the Edomites have done this and they've done that and they've done an array of different sins. But it's not a big deal. We're going to partner with them, right? Nigeria still may partner with them, right? When you're doing that, it's like you're making a mock at sin. But among the righteous, there is favor, right? So the Lord dealing with those who have right, the favor, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding shall be the stability of thy times, which is going to give you favor, man. The fear of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will give you favor, man. You have to obey the scriptures, you know what I mean? The scriptures is not about all love, right? The Bible and the God of the Bible is not about all love, right? Life is not about all love. The Lord tells you to that we would know them by their fruits, right? Right? It says the heart knoweth his own bitterness, right? So whatever you're going through in Nigeria, only you guys know what's going on in Nigeria, right? No outsider should be able to come in and try to tell you how to run your place and do this and do that, right? And a stranger, right? See? And a stranger doeth not intermeddle with his joy. So whatever going over in there, no stranger have any business talking about how they're gonna come in and bring military, this and this and that into your place where you live at and what you do. Now, the only thing we can tell you is both sides, whether you're Islam or Muslim, whatever you say you believe in, Christianity, you are Israelites. You're to worship the God of the Bible, and his real name is Yahweh, and his only begotten son's name is Yahweh Shai. Convert and be healed if it's possible. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Right? That's the only thing we can say. But definitely, you don't need a stranger doeth not intermeddle with his joy. So whether you're going through misery or whether you're going through joy, it's none of no one's business, especially some foreign country, to come in and say anything. When there's problems here, they're about to attack us here. They're putting military, they're encompassing military around Jerusalem, right? Because we're a people before a place, and Trump is doing that now. Did you know we're not Nigerians? A lot of us, but you're putting military against us, right? But really, you don't give a damn about them, right? Yeah. So this is AI overview. It says that the claim that Shell has stolen Nigerian oil is an accusation made by some, right? Which I did a lesson on this a while back ago, and basically they had plenty of evidence, but of course now all of a sudden there's no evidence. While Shell and Nigerian government attribute large-scale oil loss to the actions of illegal oil theft and sabotage, right? So they say, yeah, somebody stole it, but you can't prove it's us. That's basically what they're saying. So this is the devil, man, right? So you're there. They're allowing you to pump oil from their land. You're supposed to pay them. It matters if someone stole it or not. You need to pay them people for what you owe, right? You know, but that's what I'm saying. You know them by their fruits, right? It says there is no verified and independent legal findings that Shell as a corporation has stolen Nigerian oil, which is a lie. But I guess they don't, I guess they don't have it up front and think, but you stole it. If you're operating there and it's missing, then you're liable. You can't just go, oh, this big large sums of million dollars worth, $1 trillion worth of oil is just missing, and they're just stolen, and we're not going to pay you. No, that's not how it works, right? Yeah. So it's a large scale theft, sabotage. Shells has consistently stated that the vast majority of oil spillings also, and you spill the oil. Okay, yeah, you gotta pay, bro. You gotta freaking pay, and you need to clean up. You clean up the water reserve and all that stuff that you're messing up. You messing up their waters. You owe, man. You don't just do that. Production losses in Nigeria are due to illegal third-party interference, including pipelines, tappings. Right, and that was you. You did that. I remember that in the article. Because I was trying to find that same article and I couldn't find that. And I tried to go back and find my lesson, but probably, you know how that go. Oil theft, known as bunkering and illegal refining. This theft is a major national problem. Right, of course. Oh, yeah, there's a real big problem with someone coming to steal oil, but it's not our problem, right? That's their sentiments, basically. And let's see here. I guess they're supposed to, right here, you're supposed to be going to court. It says UK High Court ruling in June 2020 found that the Shell could not be held liable for damages. What? You can't be liable for damages? Why? You're working there. You're doing all these different things. You're spilling the oil. That's you that did that. But now someone else was coming in. Someone else was tapping in. We don't know who it is. But it doesn't matter. That's your job to protect the place. Everything must be in order. That's your job, bro. If I give you a land and then that's for you to make money, and then I'm supposed to say, hey, yeah, you have the equipment to pump the oil, okay, I need to get paid such and such from you being on this land, but this is still my land, right? I need it to be intact and in shape, not for you to allow someone to steal, whether you say you did it or not. You're not even supposed to allow someone to steal it. You're supposed to take every safety precaution that no one can steal and no one can allow oil to leak into my water reserve. Right? That is your problem. You have to fix that. Right? But of course, like I said, you're not gonna go all and get justice from the Edomite, man. They're not gonna give you that. Right? So that's what I said, you gotta know. Issued part of a trial set for 2027, right? So they're gonna have another court date sometime in 2027. But yeah, regardless, man, you're talking about $1.3 billion. Yeah, that's $1.3 billion gone, but we don't know who stole it. And it wasn't us, and it's not our problem to fix the damages either. Right? Right? So this is John chapter 10, verse 10. The thief, right? And it's a good thing for the thief to pretend that he's not the thief, right? Oh, we didn't do that. Hey, well, you can talk to your own government. They saying that we have no. Oh, you want to take us to court? Okay, you got to take us to court in the UK, not where you live, because I should be able to take you to court here in Nigeria. We don't need to go to the UK to take you to court. You did the thing here This is our land. You should be held responsible to the highest degree of the law where we live at, right? But you got the Edomites, you got good old bad USA backing you up. That's why they're telling you that they said they could just throw troops in your land. You know what? You're not treating those Christians right. I'll just put my military down in there. What? That's like he declared war on not just on Muslims. He declared war on the entire country. That you have no doings for this place, man. Right? You're a stranger. Right? You have no business. But the thief cometh not but to steal and to kill and to destroy. Oh yeah, by the way, I am not liable for those damages. But then, oh yeah, the Nigerian. Oh yeah, because you're getting paid. You're getting paid off the back end. A lot of those government officials. But what about your people? But you don't think about that, and you don't think about in the overall end. They don't care about you either, right? Says, I am come that they might have life, right? Yahushai, right? The truth too. Yahushai put the truth back in the earth, right? He opened up the 7 seals. The truth is back in the earth so that they may have life and that they might have it more abundantly, right? Through Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? Now you can't be worshiping wood and stone, saying you're a Muslim and saying you Christians and fighting your brother, right? Because that ain't going to help you. But the Lord said these are things that are going to happen, right? Proving that you are Israelites, man. But if you're wise, you know that the enemy's coming to steal, kill, and destroy. I am the good shepherd. Yahweh Shai is the good shepherd, right? They ain't gonna come and help you for real. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep, right? Beautiful, right? Right? A lot of these people, they're just hirelings. That's what it is. They're there to make a quick buck, fast buck, and they're out of there. And they don't care to restore those people, restore that land. You know what I'm saying? You just lost $1.3 billion and you don't know where it's at. Come on now. Boy. But he that is an hireling, right? Come on now. And not the shepherd whose own the sheep are not, right? He's not the owner of the sheep. Seeth the wolf coming, right? And that's a lot of your leaders. You're just hirelings, man. You see the wolf coming. You see this Edomite coming. Yeah. And then giving them money on. Hey, yeah, you didn't see nothing. Nah, we're going to go to our court. Yep. Nope. Nothing happened. No evidence. But they literally show pictures of the line. I wish I could find that article. It literally showed the line going into the submarine. And they found that submarine was owned by Shells and they were stealing it. So on one hand, they were supposed to be paying them for pumping the oil. Then they was trying to say, hey, well, we're not really pumping the oil. We don't know where it's at. And you don't have no oil here. Your oil well is ran dry, so we don't owe you no money. Meanwhile, they were stealing it on the other end and not paying them for it. Right? But there's no evidence. So allegedly, right? Allegedly, these things happen. Right? But you have your these presidents, these prime ministers, and your elite that's in Nigeria. All of our leaders, man. Right? They had to do the bidding for the elite. Right? See if the wolf coming and leaveth the sheep and flee, right? Do his own thing. Hey, like, give me the money and I'm gonna go. Take the money and run, right? And the wolf catches them and scatter them and scatter the sheep, right? And look what happened. We just read that we're scattered to every nation in the world, right? You know? Yeah, so this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. And then, it's a oldie but goodie, right? Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So yeah, Mr. Shells or BP or whatever, these Edomite, man, they're gonna just come in there and not pay you, bro. Right? Because Nigeria just had one of the largest gold deposits found in history, and you haven't heard a murmur, not even a peep about it since. So what do you think they're doing? Right? You know, the Edomites came out of the woodworks. All of a sudden, Edomites are everywhere, while the people are poor, fighting each other over being Christian and Muslim. You got wood and stone, and you got a little bit of land, but these people done took all your gold, all your oil, but you fighting over some madness, man. Right? Right? That's what though he humble himself, that's pretty much what Trump's, there's those Christians over there, and we're a Christian, Bible-believing country, and we'll send troops over there, guns a-blazing, right? Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed, right? The devil come not, but to steal, kill, and destroy. You got to take good heed, right? And beware of him, right? You got to be, hey, man, keep a distance from this guy, right? Be aware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, right? Now you wipe it down and clear it out, and now you can see. You know what I mean? Because normally, like I believe a looking glass would be like a mirror. I think that's what they saying. But if it's dirty, you can't see anything out of it, right? But if you wipe it, now you could see. You know what I mean? Right? Like I said, go back to that, judging a man by his fruits. Right? I'm gonna have to close out with that, because that's ultimately what it comes down to. Judging them by their fruits. You should know them by their fruits. So you wipe that looking glass, you can see, okay, look at me. I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely not that. I'm not coming here to steal, kill, and destroy someone. Right? If I do a job, I do it well. I pay the person. Right? I get paid. Everything's fair. As far as you know, but not this guy. He wants to underpay you. He basically wants to get over you as much as he can. Right? And thou shalt know and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Right? Right? You're gonna know. You're gonna see this guy. Oh, I see. Yeah. You trying to be sneaky. You trying to act like you're gonna come in here but really you can come in here and you're gonna try to take some minerals or things like that. You're not coming here to help us, right? That ain't what you're trying to send troops in here for. You don't give a damn about Africans or or Nigerians, should I say, because you're not really Africans like that. But Nigeria is in Africa, so they'll say Africans, right? But the people here, through the slave coast, we're from Nigeria. So what's up with you putting troops against us? A lot of us are Christians, right? So you never trust the enemy that his rust has not altogether been wiped away. Hey, that's ultimately what it is, man. He set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he have stood up in thy place. And that's ultimately what he want to do. It says, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. Yeah, and that's what he did to the natives. That's what he planned on doing to everybody. Like, hey, the guy was saying it and he took the guy from the president of South Africa, scolded him. He was scolding on the TV. He's doing all this different thing. She's trying to show he has this authority. And then when he sees Putin, he was kissing his ass. Cause Putin ain't no chump, man. All right. You see the president of China, you kiss his ass. You ain't talking to them like that, right? You know why? Because you're not really that big tough guy like you're pretending to be, right? You're taking smaller people than and smaller countries, and then you're trying to put on a magnifying glass, right? Which is your media, and then scroll like you're on this level, but you're not. You acting like you give a damn. Oh, I'll put the military up. No, you don't even care, right? You're just trying to get the attention off them gutter rats, man. Right? They're over there G-siding in Gaza, right? That's all you're trying to do, right? And then it also, like I said, it helps spin that Muslims are bad, right? And you can attack them, which that's what they're doing over there in Europe anyway, right? Which is your other counterpart, your mother, even though she's going to be sore ashamed of you, right? You're running the same play. You're running the same playbook, though, right? It says, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at thy last remember my words and be pricked therewith. 'Cause who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, right? And what's this devil? He's a serpent. He's the serpent from the garden. The original serpent from the garden. Self-proclaimed so-called white man has always been a serpent, and you know it. But you're gonna bring him to Nigeria and bring him in there, and you're gonna accept him with open arms. You are crazy. But a lot of you are getting paid. You're getting paid to be hirelings, and any such as near wild beast, right? You're trying to be Barnum and Bailey circus thing, and you don't got them type of skills, man. Leave that thing to the professionals, right? You're supposed to beware of him, right? Know that the devil's coming to steal, kill, and destroy. So just be aware of him. Stay away. No, Mr. White Man, stay over there. We're good, right? Which that's what a lot of people are saying in Nigeria right now. Even though they say they particularly like Trump there, and they particularly is cool with the U.S., but they're not really trusting it really the way things are going the way he is. So For so one that goeth to a sinner, right? Who's the biggest sinner on the planet? Esau Edom. So you can go to him and, oh, I need some help, Mr. White Man. No. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity him? Yeah, so you're gonna be defiled with America with their sins. Yeah, who gonna be able to pity you in that? Right? But that's what it said. They should hate the whore. Why? Because they are drunken with the wrath of the power, for she had made them drunk with her. Right? So now you're gonna be a partaker of her sins and get destroyed right along with America. That's why all these nations are gonna be angry. Right? And these shall hate the whore and have fire eat her, right? And that's what's coming. For a while will he abide. Yeah, see, that's what he's saying. Hey, yeah, I come over there. I'll help you. I'll help out the Christian. I'll abide for a while. Well, really, we know it's a whole lot of agendas behind it, right? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, yeah, he will not tarry. He ain't gonna be there. Man, motherfucker goddamn eat him. He don't give a damn. I'm gonna send troops, guns that. He is the devil, man. He is the serpent. If you get bitten by this, hey, nobody's gonna pity you, Nigerians, man. Nobody's gonna pity you, right? You Christians and Muslims fighting over nonsense and not coming back to the power. But hey, it is what it is. An enemy speaketh sweetly, right? I'll send my troops for the Christians with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will wipe with his he will wipe with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Right? Yeah, he's over there boohooing, he's crying with you, wiping his eyes. I can't believe the Christians and the Muslims are fighting. Oh my God. Oh shit. Oh wait, you got a gold deposit? Oh my God. Oh, you letting people come in and steal $1.3 billion in oil? Oh, okay. I see opportunity over here, right? Yeah, and then when he ain't gonna be satisfied with blood, it ain't enough. Right? If an adversary come unto thee, thou shalt find him there first. Yeah, exactly what he's doing. What? You're coming against the Christians? I'll send my troops. He's there first. And through he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. Yeah, man, that's what they've been doing the whole time, bro. Right? Because that's why your own leaders is, oh, there's nothing here to see. Because they're getting paid. They're being hirelings. Right? But if you, I don't know, bro, this is crazy. He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance, right? Right? Yeah, look at them dumbass Nigeria. And that's what they probably all saying anyway. Because, they link with, going over there, Trump. I bet you can get some money, you can get some things. Say you care about the Christians, and let's bring attention to the thing. And because I noticed that thing been coming on, was it the TBS or wherever, that Christian network? And when have you ever care about some so-called black people? You don't. That's just to get the attention off the G side over there in Gaza. right? Yeah. So this is Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. It says, be aware of false prophets or even false friends, right? So when actually like they care, you got to be aware of them, which come to you in sheep clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves, right? They're ready to devour you. You come not but to steal, kill, and destroy, right? Ye shall know them by their fruits, right? If they stole and this and that, you stole continents, not one continent, continents, and lands, and this, and ideas, and inventions, and oil, and it's constants, and people, and men, and what haven't the Edomites stolen, right? But I'm gonna trust you. Yeah, come on over. No. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns and figs of thistles, right? Oh, ouch, I'm pricking my here's a no, you don't grab the thorns, the grape with the thorn and eat that. You're gonna you hurt yourself, right? Choke yourself. No, when you gather, you just want to take the grape because that's what's edible. That's what's, that's what's nourishing to you, right? You don't take the thorns with it, right? Because it don't make sense. How can good and evil be together? How can something good and something that hurts you be together? It's not good. It says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. So if someone's a good friend or a prophet, right, they're going to bring forth good fruit, right? But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. And that's all we ever seen from the Edomite is evil and evil. But all of a sudden you care about Christians. Come on, bro. What about them? A lot of them Gazans over in Gaza was Christians. Why are you sending troops over there? Right? All right. Says a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. See? And they're not good. The Edomites are not good. America is not good. You ain't gonna bring forth good fruit. On one end, you're trying to protect Nigerians, but do you know a lot of the people here are Nigerian? But then you're sending military to people here that's supposed to be Nigerian, and a lot of these people here are Christians, right? Where's the balance in that? Where's the true love in that? All right, come on, man. You're not a true friend, man. Right? You're just a wolf in sheep's clothing, which is not even that, because you're exposed, man. You know who you are. You're for the elite. It says, every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit, hewn down and cast into the fire. Whew, right? Right? Come on now. And that's what's about to happen to America. You're about to be hewn down and cast into the fire. They all going to shoot fire on you. These shall hate the whore and eat her flesh with fire, with ICBM missiles. That's what's about to happen, man. You're going to push forth the charagma, showing you don't really give a damn about nobody. And after you push forth the charagma, the Lord's going to speed everything up even faster. Because time's already speeding up. But it's really going to speed fast during the time of the pushing forth the charagma. And then the missiles are going to eat you up. You're going to get hewn down and tossed into the fire. And America's going to be the lake of fire, man. So push that charagma. Hurry up. Push that charagma so your flesh can be eaten with fire, man. This place is finished, man. Right? We're taking good heed of you. Thou shalt never trust thy enemy, right? We'll never trust in you. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. Hey, and that's it. This place right here, we know you. We know the Edomite. We know what Trump is about, man. Right? trying to put so-called black people back in the fields. It's just crazy, bro. Okay, call Loyum Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakha HaKwadash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to your sisters, your Akhwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Bible ball. Kwam Yasharallah.